Welcome to Face Islam, the program dealing with the issues facing Muslims everywhere, every day. In this special episode, we want to talk about something called Zamzam. Zamzam is something discussed by a lot of Muslims, even some non-Muslims, talking about a source of water that is found in the desert of Arabia. As a matter of fact, right at the very location of the Baytullah, which is the Kaaba in the Haram, the holy sanctuary in Mecca. Zamzam. Well, where does that word come from? The story that we know actually comes to us in the Quran. And we find that at the time of the Prophet Abraham, peace be upon him, that he took his wife, Hajar, or Hagar, as she's called in English, and her son, Ishmael, or Ismail, as he's called in Arabic, out to the desert. And on their journey, he came to a certain place, a place where prophets had all worshipped before, this same location where Adam himself had worshipped God. Some have even said that perhaps this is where he prostrated, where Adam prostrated and asked to be forgiven for having eaten from the tree, the forbidden tree. In any case, Abraham, peace be upon him, left his wife, Hajar, and his son Ishmael there on that location. And as he walked away, his wife was calling to him, but he didn't even turn. She's asking, where you going? What's up? He didn't turn. Then she said, is this from Allah? And he signaled to her that it was for him to go, not to look back, but just to go. Of course, he returned back sometime later, but in the meantime, he had left her there with the son. He had been instructed by Allah, by the way, to sacrifice his son. He took it literal, meaning that he should try to slaughter him. You'll find that in the Old Testament, in the book of Genesis, but you'll find it as well in the Quran and the teachings of Muhammad that, yes, in fact, that's what he tried to do. In fact, when he put the blade on his neck, the blade would not even cut, wouldn't cut, because Allah didn't want that. Instead, he sent a ram, a male sheep, and they slaughtered it instead. By the way, I should mention, that wasn't the blood that God wanted here. It was the obedience to Allah, to do what you're commanded to do. He was very impressed with Abraham's willingness to do that. But what he wanted him to do is to leave him there at the holy place, which was about to come about, right about then. A place that we as Muslims still go to today. And the early followers of Abraham also. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's come back to what happened. After he left, of course, they ran out of food and water. The mother was so worried about her child. She became distraught. What shall I do? Where shall I go? Naturally, as a believer, she knows God will take care of him, but she felt that she has to do something too. So she mounted these two hills in between each other called Safa and Marwa. She went up Safa and she looked. No, I don't see anything. And she came down and went up to Marwa. I don't see anything. I don't look. Maybe some people will come. Maybe there should be, somebody will pass along. And then she went back to the other side. Again Safa, and then back to Marwa, and back to Safa, and back to Marwa. She did this 7 times. And still nothing. Oh, where are we going to get water? And she saw her baby there. This is Ismail. He looks like he's dying. What can she do? What can she do? Well, anyway, it was the angel Gabriel that came to their rescue. And with one strike of the heel on the ground, it started bringing water up out of the ground. She was surprised. Hajar went over there. What is this water? It's coming up. It's coming up, coming up. It was flowing and gushing and gushing and flowing. And the water was filling up all around. It's like, whoa, we're going to drown here. Now, keep in mind, Hajar was not Arab. Okay? She was not also from the land of Mesopotamia, or what's today called Iraq. She was from Mesr, from Egypt. And it was said in her dialect that Zam meant to go back or hold back, don't come any closer, or, something like this. And that she was saying, Zam, Zam, meaning for the water, not to drown them. Whether or not that's the meaning is debatable, and that's not a big deal. But what is a big deal is that water continued to flow and flow and flow until many people started coming to that area for the water. And of course, Ismael and his mother were in charge of that area. And as such, it was pretty good for him because he had the choice of the tribes to marry to. And he did. He married into the Arab tribes. And from Ismael and his wife came forth many, many, many descendants, like the stars in the sky. It's strange, isn't it? Very strange, because we found in the Bible that it tells them that God is going to make the descendants of Abraham through his son Isaac or Ishaq like the sands of the ocean, and the other one like the stars in the sky. And it's exactly what we've seen. So many descendants of both everywhere. But more important than anything for us is to know how God responds to our cries, and he knows what we need. He does test us. He puts us in a lot of tests, doesn't he? And along the way, we're supposed to be going to him and asking him. Then he'll provide the solution to our problems, just as he provided the solution to the problem for Hajar, the mother of Ismael. And for Ismael, they needed water. They were going to die. But Allah brought water from a most unlikely place, from the sand of the desert. And by the way, it still runs there today. The well of Zamzam is a source of water even today for the Meccans, even when they have millions of people coming from around the whole planet for the pilgrimage, especially at the time of Dhul Hijjah, the month of Hajj. And when these 3, 4, or 5 million people are all gathered together, there's a huge impact on the need for water. In fact, if it weren't for the well of Zamzam, they wouldn't be able to stay there like this. But the water keeps flowing and flowing and flowing. Another point that people ask us about, they ask us about what is the content of Zamzam itself. Is there some medicinal purpose behind this? Is there some kind of cure that we can find in the Zamzam water? Well, actually, it does contain minerals that are not found really in this combination anywhere else on the earth. Zamzam water is very unique, and it has a nice taste to it. It has a flavor because it has minerals in it. It's not just H2O. In fact, when I first drank it, I thought, hey, who put something in my water? It has a flavor, a very nice flavor. Whether you drink it warm or cool or even ice cold, it's a luscious drink. And do you know that I've seen people use it not only to cure things inside them, but outside them as well. One friend of mine, he had psoriasis on his skin, on his arm. Do you know when I brought him some Zamzam back from Hajj, that he used to put it on his arm and it would relieve him and take away the itching and the problem that went with it, and it almost cured up, and then we ran out of Zamzam. So it wasn't, back in those days, it was not like now it was so readily available in America, but today it's pretty easy to get it at almost any place that sells the halal meat or the halal foods, books and things about Islam. Another thing about the Zamzam that I think is important for us to know is its potential for keeping and sustaining life all by itself without anything else. It's been said in ancient times that a person could survive on Zamzam. Now, how long? Well, one of the teachers of Islam in the last century decided to try for himself. He said, I believe all the prophecies without a doubt, but I want to do it for myself to get some blessing. So he remained in the area of the Haram, the sanctuary there in Mecca. And do you know that while he was there for 30 days, for a full month, he did not eat or drink anything except from this well of Zamzam. And he drank only that. Morning and night he would drink the Zamzam. He said after he completed the 30 days, he weighed himself to see how much weight he lost, because after all, if you're just drinking water, you know you'd be emancipated. You'd be emaciated. You wouldn't have any meat on your bones practically. 30 days? I don't know how you'd survive. He was surprised when he stepped on the scale. Do you know why? Because he had gained weight. That's right. He gained weight during that time. So there's something in the Zamzam. And it's a great thing for you to drink in the mornings and nights. Good to break your fast with. Anybody is diseased, have a problem. In fact, our prophet, peace be upon him, said it has a cure for anything but death. I do believe that that's a good thing for us to do, to drink this Zamzam when you can. Get a chance? Check it out. Another important part of Zamzam, very important, is that this is something that when people are affected with magic, sahar, or jinn possession, when someone has something inside of them causing them to do weird things, like almost split personalities, then what they can do is to drink this. Now, if you say Bismillah, that's the best before you drink it. Another point is to recite Quran, and they blow it into the glass that you're going to drink from. They will say like this. They will say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. They'll recite the surah like this. Then you drink this. And if you do it in the morning and night, it will help relieve the problem that people get like that. So Zamzam is a benefit. Spiritually, physically, and for the sake of dawah, to help people know what's Islam. Oh, and by the way, this is Face Islam. La